The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, I hope you had a very wonderful weekend. Without taking much of your time because we're behind schedule, we'll quickly go into the big issue of the day, which is 2023 between issue-based campaigns and ad-hominem attacks. I'm your regular host, George Agba is my name, and of course, we are all regulars here in the studio, in-house analyst, Silas Ezewu, and Chibuzo Kaibe. Well, the dimension the campaigns for the 2023 election is becoming worrisome. And of course, stakeholders in the country and even beyond the shores of the country are worried that candidates of the various political parties are resorting to attacks that are unwarranted. Leave the substance to tackle the trash. In spite of series of calls that the campaign should be issue-based so that Nigerians will actually know what the candidates have in stock for them to enable them make their choice. And besides, recently, the Salami-led committee brought the presidential candidates of the political party together to sign a peace pact. But that peace pact doesn't seem to be working, considering the hostility amongst the candidates, especially their utterances. And this came to the fore on Sunday when the All Progressives Congress presidential candidates, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his People's Democratic Party counterparts, threw caution to the wind and engaged themselves verbally, while Tinubu took the advantage of the fact that the presidential candidate of the PDP had in the past, according to critics, turned the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, into his second home. As he goes there to hibernate frequently, to let Nigeria understand that, look, he is a president. He will be a president that will be with them 100% and not the one that will stay in Dubai 50% and stay in Nigeria 50%. And of course, that was an implicit attack on Atiku, who sensed it immediately and fired back. Atiku also, just like Tinubu, left the issues that will make Nigerians vote and started engaging in ad-hominem attacks, attacking the human person. And all the attacks from Atiku had ranged from Tinubu's ill health, and the fact that the crowd he never got in Kanu was an indication that he was already a failure. And somewhere in the mix, the NMPP presidential candidate, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, while the two elephants were fighting, to tell them that you're just wasting your time about Kanu. And in all this, Nigerians are saying it is not what we are after. Tell us what you have in stock for us. Silence. What can you say about the situation?
Josh, I have experiences because the exchange, makes for interesting reading. I would not say that that touches are not honest, are not expected. It's political season, and the ability to demarcate your opponent and market yourself is the Tinubu obviously wanted to cash in on the fact that Atiku has been living mostly in Dubai. Want to school there, they stay mostly and so on. So they feel that this aspect of Atiku will help to reduce Atiku's rating. We have to boost its own rating too, because two of them are holding tickets for the two main political parties, the peace who have been in government. Okay, so and of course, even though he didn't call Atiku's name by referring to Dubai, Atiku knew that it was, so one person could have said, well, he didn't call my name. And we have this local thing in my area then. Say, well, I said this, did I call your name?
That is
I didn't call your name, so why are you reacting this way?
But at the end of the day,
You
could even imagine that ordinarily, tactically, somebody would have just pretended as if he didn't hear that because my name was not there.
Well, I'm not mentioned.
He could not hold it. He knew that.
I know the one living in Dubai.
That attack was targeted at him directly.
So he saw it that, okay, this was a reference to me, even though my name was not mentioned. And he fell back and he said the things he said. George, to think that we'll go through this whole campaign and don't hear, verbal exchanges, it will not even make the election interesting. Go to social media, you can see the kind of flowing that this kind of exchange. So people are just looking for something that will excite them
and entertain them in the process.
The campaign is a long time. If you start talking about just fraud and security, everything, people get tired of listening to all those things. It becomes repetitive. So once in a while,
they now see politics as a kind of comic relief.
Yeah. So this one is also providing some kind of comic relief in the whole extent. But when issues are to be discussed, we want them to be present to discuss them. Like when invite them for debates and conferences and issues, or even on television. It's only P2B that has been attending. I think has attended interviews on TVs. Like out of 100%, they take 80%. They're sitting the other three main candidates to just 20%. Even today was on TV, talking about what you will do, what you will not do. So we want them. Those other ones can say that once a while they can throw those jabs at each other. But when the issues are to discuss, they should not fail to show off. They should not be sending some errand boy who will just come and speak good English and go away. By the time the person gets into office, you say, well, I didn't say that. So some other person, like, let me just make a reference to what happened when Deborah was killed in Sokoto. An aide of Atiku made a post condemning it. And when there were reactions from the Muslim folk, Atiku quickly denied. So if they will send in their spokesperson to go and talk, they can always, claim their ability when they're in office that I didn't say that.
I didn't say so.
So that's where we want them to come in. When issues are to issues, they should all come. They should not run away from that debate. They should come and tell us exactly what. But this other side jab, so to if it's not so, if it's not so damaging as to cause, colonizing people, what they expect it in politics. Even abroad, you hear people referencing some of the personal lives of some of their opponents, not to make them look less worthy of the vote.
Well, as you say, if it is not so damaging, it would be more damaging than a candidate telling his fellow candidate that he will not lie to Nigerians the way his counterpart is lying about his health status. And you say it's not damaging. It is, because at the end of the day, to your person shows that you are not healthy, you are sick, you are, what other term could you use it now to make it? You are a vegetable that cannot deliver anything anytime. But then, be that as it may, but let's just look at the issue. Take it up. Good and fine. Sala said, this is not something that one would have said he shouldn't have expected in an electioneering season. We know, even myself, I was not as if I was not expecting it. But the issue at stake here is that we thought that by now, Nigeria and its politics would have grown that kind of campaigns. Because Nigeria is 60-something years now since it got its independence. And for a country that prides itself as the big brother in Africa, where other African countries should have been, must we continue to be saying this every election cycle, every electioneering season, we will always be seeing candidates hitting, they attacking themselves instead of, and most times in the process of attacking themselves, even the one who comes to be fair and try to call them to order, they hit at the person. That one we call it straw man fallacy. And we, so the idea is that now as if it was not expected. But how long must we continue witnessing this without any change?
The only thing one can say is until we begin to have our political behavioral tendencies change, we might still continue like this. We didn't start now. We started with the primaries. So what we are saying now is the manifestation of the reasons why people want to be president. So, for me, it's not surprising. It's just my point that we might have to go through the whole process doing this ping pong thing between these two guys. I think I probably have nothing because we have been at this. You know, see when they call for issues before, how are they going to show up when they have nothing to do? When it appears as if they are not ready to talk about issues. So we might have this whole process go like this and be more of you say I didn't say the level of these issues rather than the main problems. 7 months or how many months left?
Sorry, 5 months.
I don't even think it's enough to exhaust the real problems we have in Nigeria. So I might not totally agree that the period of time is too much to really discuss the real issues in Nigeria. In the US elections, in fact, they start discussing the issues right from their primaries, party primaries, not about persons. It's about party primaries. They begin to map out what the party ideology will look like with regards to the economy. Even within the liberals, you have the those to the right and those to the left, even within the liberals. So they argue at that level, not on personality, not about persons, but about the ideas. What kind of ideas are you bringing within this fold? So they put that front and center. Of course, character will always be an issue. They will always bring up these issues, character, to a point because it's a leadership thing. Fundamental block of who a leader is character. So it is always going to be there. But it's not as if it's going to be the dominant issue because you could have character and not have nothing in your head. It becomes a liability in itself. Of course, with character, you cover a large ground with regard to leadership. But character too requires knowledge, requires capacity, requires know-how, requires real technical skills. So they could go, and so that's why you see when these countries do their own debates, they do their own campaigns, they focus on this critical issue, not you go and travel to Dubai, not travel to Dubai. Health is
200%.
And we'll be doing all this in the elections, and we expect them to engage in the issue. They won't. So, unfortunately, this is where we are.
Thank you very much, Chibuzo. We would like to take a short break and let's see whether we have some commercials there or some very special announcements. But I would want to draw your attention to the fact that the big issue is one platform where candidates of political parties themselves, and even individuals who come to showcase, tell us the agenda for their constituents or for the entire Nigeria in the case of presidential candidates. And that is why we would say the room is always open, even as a guest on Leadership Podcast. And even if you want to do some commercials with us, we are always here because it is an online TV that has a wider coverage, especially for the teeming Nigerians who are on the social media. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We are still on the big issue in leadership podcast, and of course, the big issue of the day is 2023 polls between issue-based campaign and ad-hominem attacks. Silas, just like we were saying, you know, you don't find you say Peter B is one person that had never disappointed when it comes to facing Nigerians and tell them what his plans are. But we've seen where candidates are very busy attacking themselves. And if they're not even attacking themselves individually, they attack their political parties. But most Nigerians feel like it's high time we should stop hearing how PDP misrule has crippled Nigeria. PDP 16-year misrule has crippled Nigeria. The PDP will now say, oh, this man that has done well. And at the end of the day, Tinubu keeps insisting that he's fit. Issue-based campaign, please. What do you think naturally, politically, we understand by that term globally? Issue-based campaign. I think if we'll be able to define it and put it in the right perspective, candidates will understand. Perhaps they're still thinking that issue-based campaign is about attacking. Tell us something small about issue-based campaign. If it requires us educating them a bit, it's necessary.
Judge, this picture says a bit. I think that
From your own understanding, I'm not
the
talking
issues
of a
are.
universal accepted
No.
definition anyway.
Yeah, well, let me just come to the question this way.
Mm.
Everybody who's anybody in Nigeria knows that the country is not putting its weight well. The crisis, cost of living in Nigeria, things are tough. Economically, things are tough. Security-wise, things are tough. Even socially, things are tough. I listened to one person say that they can't even keep get friends, they can't play again because the pockets are empty. But one of the things was asking to be that Nigerians were talking for pandemic of empty pockets. The purchasing power of all people and money and we were washed away by more than 20%. In fact, people, a man was talking to me, I had cost because of this podcast, I had the cost to take a public transport. And then the man was telling me it was so it takes a soldier or something like that. Say that they were so angry, they doesn't go to the market again. He just send somebody. And when he goes there, they tell him prices and the one that likes to punch someone in the face. So the issues are clear cut. One, Nigerians don't feel safe in the country. That's number one. The primary, job of government is provide security, security and well-being of Nigeria. So that security in Nigeria has gone down the drain over the years. It didn't start from this government. But the government has not, to most people's estimation, has not done really much. But under this government, the thing even exacerbated, moving from northeast where they were all over the country to the point now that the foreign countries, UK, US, and also are now once in a while issuing travel advisory, against Nigeria. So the security issue is number one. The other one is the economy. People know the economy has, we have gone through 2 recessions. Our purchasing power has got raised. We are highly indebted now. The tourist is not there. Now we are going within, within the threshold. We were spending almost 70% of our income to service, not pay the capital. So I don't know the kind of yarn that's spending to Nigerians. Even the foreign government, last time, one of these brethren news complained that Nigeria's debt issue is no problem. Yeah, Nigerian government who is growing for everything, it's not a problem. And they cannot even service it fully now. They can't even pay that, shifting the goalposts to the next generation. So the economy is there. The issue of fuel crisis, subsidy and all those crime involved with all that is there. Then a new entrant to the issues now. Of course, we talk economy, push by resource, security, and then corruption. That one, I'm going to take a question again because it used to be number one problem in Nigeria. Now you're taking a back seat. Other bigger problems have come up. But you look at the corruption issue itself. Why the security is not working well? Why the subsidy issue has part of things that have brought Nigeria economy down? Why is that subsidy not working well? Because the corruption in the world, in the index there. They don't need to do the corruption from the subsidy. That's why we're paying every year we're not paying shaders. Some when off to the were talking about it, when Sanusi talked about countries that are in smart issues Nigeria, how they're spending 2 naira to build one bridge, and Nigeria is spending maybe 20-40 naira to build the same bridge. That's corruption. That's money that will have dropped into providing welfare and other services to Nigeria, being stolen by those in charge. You have seen the kind of oil debt that happened, the kind of that the proposed contract is revealing in the Niger Delta. That is Nigeria's wealth being drained off the country. We are losing our money to criminals while we are borrowing money to supply the shortfall. Those are the issues that are on board. Then now this flooding has joined the fray. There's clearly lack of governance that resulted in Nigeria not being ready for this flooding. This flooding is a man-made. When the Minister of Agriculture and Human Resources or something said it was rainfall, I laughed. Because rainfall in Nigeria this year is not that more than enough last year or 2 years ago.
It's not as serious as that.
But if you look at the flood, they have moved from the north, Benue.
The Lado Dam.
Yes, the dam.
From
You can
Cameroon.
see it progressing from going to go to conference, flooded Lokoja. They now moved through Anambra State, took out about a third of the community of the state, and now went down to what? I was still having, vigilance now. The floods are not still moving and destroying this. So when they talk, I say, well, life, I look at that. Is it sensible? I don't know if that word, but it was not talking to the issues. So the presidential candidates need to tell us exactly how to make sure that this flooding will have suffered in 2012, that going forward, because bad governance leads to death. Bad governance is killing people. These people who died of flooding that were avoided because of bad governance that they died. If I put that down, dredge and rivers, settle them and everything, the body of water that came from them could have been contained and used for marital purposes. They sat down and did anything. I keep asking, what are they doing with the critical funds that they received from, and from government and from even international organizations? Have they done them? So those are the issues. Then the issue of unity is to have a inclusive government. Make sure that the impact on Nigeria is presented.
You don't expect that there will be unity when a section of the country is benefiting more than the other, or some individuals.
So now not even being played up. If you look at this comment, for instance, now, when they go for security meeting, there's nobody from the Southeast. And arguably, Southeast Igbo Nigeria make up the largest single ethnic bloc. I had somebody making that argument that in the Southeast, they make up 99% of the population there. If you other community in Nigeria, they're the second highest population. Go to Lagos, the big centers of population in Nigeria. Go to Lagos, for instance, possibly you have up to 10% of people from Southeast there. Go to Rivers, there are more than Rivers people. Go to Abuja, there are more 50%. Then go across the country, there are other second population behind the original owners of the place. When you aggregate all these things, you find out that they make up possibly the biggest ethnic group in Nigeria. That's that problem. Okay. So, and you see that they're going to go for a consecutive meeting, like case episode on TV Monday. There's no government talking there. That's why they do not see that they bring that this window they have with Kanu, not the Kanu, that it could help to make peace in the Southeast. How to bring out the violence, of a people. That if the Southeast now was in that because we have also presented a compelling evidence why it would be good to release Kanu to see whether give him some conditional release to see
Release.
whether
Mm.
his absent, present, freedom and the work they were asked him to do, they have to. In the East now, you don't know it about, but you go to East now, there's no business on Mondays. One of the people that are losing 10 billion naira out of, in business and economy every Monday because there's no schools, there's no hospital, nothing works there on Mondays. So this could help to. So those are issues that are on top, and that's what the candidates should be speaking to. Not okay, you live in Dubai. Those are the issues that should be central. How do they use governance to make the life of people better? That's the issue.
Well, Nigerians chosen as an helping matters for themselves because instead of them to come out and call the candidates out on the social media, tell them, please don't tell us that trash. They will fold their hands, be watching the comedy, just like they say that the candidates have turned themselves into comedians. So them truly have decided to stay and be watching the comedies. Until this directory, the security alert by the United States rattled them back to life. And I heard that so many people are even born, some could not even come outside to go to join the traffic because the fear is that bombs might even explode in traffic. You know, the United States, they listed some of those areas they should avoid. That will take, it will only take such situation to drag them out from out of the comedy they have been watching by the presidential candidate. But just like you rightly say, Obi has actually done well because he had always concentrated his campaign on things he says he will do if he becomes president. And that perhaps explains why Nigerians they keep taking him serious every day. I don't know whether a candidate like Obi will be able to make it because we see a situation where in Nigeria to win an election you must have a very powerful structure, both politically and the rest. I think somebody had to paste it on social media. I think it's one of the social media posts we saw. We were trying to list the states political parties have based on their strength. Say APC has 22 states, PDP 13, ABGA 1, and then Labour Party, social media, and what states? Well, but Chibuzo, there is this tendency that in the midst of this, if we were in other climes where we could be very sure of the elections and be very sure that votes will count, all these things by the presidential candidates of the major parties, like the APC and PDP, seem to be playing out for somebody like Obi, who is gaining wide acceptance by the day. Don't you see a situation where a small rat will just go get what two elephants are fighting?
Who's the
It's
small
killing
rat?
the grass. Labour Party and presidential candidate Obi.
Uh, I don't follow the metaphor. It's a season of metaphors now. I
Yes.
don't do the metaphor thing.
You wouldn't blame, of course, Chibuzo, you won't blame me on it. It's not only me who does this metaphor thing.
That's
We've
what I'm
even
saying.
heard even the presidential candidate doing metaphor with church rats
We have to
and poison
restructure.
communion.
We have to restructure the concept of metaphor. So me, I'm starting mine now. I wouldn't totally agree that anybody is a small rat in this contest because it is a contest and it is open for to engage the process. If I understand your question right, it is whether we can maximize.
Take advantage of the ad-hominem attacks.
It doesn't have to maximize anything. All it has to do is to continue what he's doing, which is to speak to the issues. And he has been doing that effectively. He was on the TV station today and he spoke eloquently on what ought to be done differently in regards to this flooding. He spoke also about how, and he has been saying it all through. It's not a new narrative from him on how, agriculture could help to unlock the economy, how to pull people out of poverty, how to address a good number of key economic issues, which, from the understanding of his thinking, as I as expressed, would help to make sure security is measurably addressed. So what you need to do is to keep speaking to the issues, convincing people, making them understand why it shouldn't be about any kind of individual. It should be about who has the answers and who has the best approach to the problem.
Yes.
Not
Developing
just,
the country.
not just rehashing what the problem is. Everybody knows what the problem is. At least at this point, a good number of people know what the problem is. Even if one is not educated, it comes down to some basic fundamental feeling. There's hunger in the land. I believe nobody has to go to school to know what the problem is. Purchasing power as it is, nobody has to go to school to understand that. The security problem, nobody has to go to school to understand. What's next?
Just flooded
A
too.
whole number of things. Nobody has to have Harvard kind, Ivy League education to understand that there are fundamental problems. But the question is, what's the best way to tackle these problems? I think that is what the issue is. Not everybody coming to TV to say, "Oh, Nigeria is this. I'm going to do," like Ruben Abati said. Everybody keeps saying, "I'm going to do infrastructure. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." The question is how. That is one. Then we should be able to have a contest of Mr. A's how and Mr. B's how, so that we come up with the best. It's not about who wins the better debate. It's about fine-tuning the best possible solution to a national problem. If all of you claim you want to help Nigeria get better and ensure that things get better for Nigeria and all of that and all of that, you should be bold enough to come up with your ideas and say, "I'm putting my ideas out for scrutiny and for contest," so that when it is put out there and there's a contrary opinion, it begins to sharpen out for the best way Nigerians can see. From there, you might even say, "Okay, I think if this person is thinking this way and I'm thinking," there's no different. There are different schools of thought on a variety of issues on how to solve problems. There's no one school of thought most times on this issue, and that is why you have different the concept of ideology. Even in other clients, some people believe in higher taxes, some people believe in lower taxes, some people believe in a welfare arrangement, others believe we should make it much more competitive and all of that. But the question is, you should be able to come out with what you think and be ready to subject it to proper scrutiny, and you defend it. That is what we want to have. And like Mr. Silas did point out, and I concur, the only person that appears to be really speaking to the how he intends to go about it in much more detailed form, detailed pattern, putting out the numbers at the risk of being accused of misquoting and misquoting and how do I put it? Yeah, misquoting and inflating figures.
No, using wrong
using
figures.
wrong figures and all of that. The only person that appears to be doing that at the moment is Obi, and it takes a lot of guts to do that. So that's the kind of guts we want to see other candidates, put out. You should be bold to say, "Okay, this is my document, and I'm ready to defend it in clear, critical terms." That is why I think we should, and that's why we've been emphasizing on this platform that perhaps the narrative should shift from who is telling this person you went to Dubai, you didn't go to Dubai, or the other side, the wicked people saying, "Oh, you didn't carry my person, you didn't carry." Those are, as far as I'm concerned, those are distractive issues in politics in the context of where we are. Because you have to put things in context. In the context of where we are today, as far as I'm concerned, those are distractive tendencies to take people away from asking the real questions. So it's left for us to constantly make them understand that, okay, yes, we understand the theatrics. They are necessary. Or they might not be necessary in today's Nigeria. They might not be necessary in today's Nigeria. what we think is necessary is you come and explain. Stop beating around the bush. Stop pointing fingers about some issues that are not as. Since you claim that you are sound and healthy, fine. Come and defend what it is that you are saying you are putting forward. That is what we should be encouraging them to do.
Well, the bottom line, and of course the takeaway from the big issue today, borders on the fact that our politicians, especially the candidates of political party, should rise above mediocrity and concentrate their campaigns on issues that Nigerians are actually interested to know. What will change their lives, how their lives will be transformed in no distant future, instead of engaging in ad-hominem attacks and the attacks on the strong man. We hope that in the coming days, especially candidates of the major party will change their mode of campaign and face the issues and leave the trash. That is the much we can take for the big issue of the day. Thank you for keeping tab with us. And of course, I thank our in-house analysts for really enlightening us in that regard. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.